All right, we're 2 seconds in. We are live. It is September 26, 2025. Tom better be watching because I was scolded by Tom for starting late. So we're starting relatively better on time. So it's 11:06 now. Exciting week, a lot of stuff going on. What was the big news overnight?
Comey got
indicted. So everybody complained that, why Donald Trump picked on Pam Bondi with that text or that Truth Social a couple days ago and telling her to get in line and about how great she was. Well, apparently it did move things. So, but that's what it takes sometimes. I am not into using government power to persecute people, but I do believe Comey and those guys were doing some bad things.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe they used government influence and power to go after Trump. I personally have obviously suffered through government power trying to put me in 90 days of jail. So I did file just on that legal case. I filed a motion to dismiss that case and a motion to vacate the contempt of the lower court that held against me. And think about this: you got a trial court, you got court of appeals, and you got the Supreme Court. Trial courts can do anything they want to do. No, there's no precedent other than they have to follow what the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. But they can, they're determiners of facts. They can do whatever they kind of want to do. So a lot of them do. And this one is one that retired in December 31st of last year. As long as he doesn't do something hugely unethical, and it's always a judgment call, that type of stuff. So, he issued, 90-day contempt, found me in willful contempt. And it said I needed to serve 90 days in jail or perform what he wanted me to do, which is pay some legal fees to the other side. And, I appealed that to the Court of Appeals. I requested what's called a writ of supersedis, which would be to stop him from putting me in jail or doing anything. They issued that writ of supersedis, remanded it back down to the trial court. The trial court, with the instructions of finding out if I truly had cancer, because the trial court did not believe that I had cancer. He literally said it on the deposition transcript that he did not believe. He's like, Mr. Davis, I'm sympathetic. I've had cancer myself, but I can't believe you came here and didn't have all these medical records to prove that you had cancer. I'm like, I'm an officer of the court. Now, granted, I'm licensed in Georgia. I'm a licensed lawyer, CPA in Georgia, but I am an officer of the court there. I provided a sworn affidavit. I've never been accused of lying or anything. No lying, other than social media, they accuse you of everything, as you know. So I provided a sworn affidavit. I was sworn in at the hearing and provided testimony to the fact of it. When the judge made that statement from the bench that day, when I got home, I literally sent him several hundred pages of medical and financial records, ex parte, just sent to him. I didn't send it to the other side. I let the other side know that I was doing it, but I don't want this out in the public because they put it out there. I sent it to the judge. It showed that I had over $515,000 of medical bills in 2024, and it actually had my diagnosis of a stage 4 cancer. He still, a couple weeks later, issued a written opinion that he didn't believe I had cancer. So the Court of Appeals picked up on that and said, hey, we're remanding it back to the trial judge, determine if he had cancer, expedited hearing process. It still took him 6 months to go through the process. That's not really expedited, right? So as soon as the court finally conceded that I had cancer, the Court of Appeals took it right back up. And so I've asked them to say, hey, now that we've established what you did not have in the record, that I had this, it's technically you cannot be found in contempt of something you cannot do. So if I was unable to perform an action, there is no certainly there's no contempt, there's no willful contempt. So that's pretty much in the law. So I wrote a motion to dismiss and vacate that judgment. They wrote back a 2 or 3 2 or 3 page return. I hope is they only spent a few hours writing their return brief because they knew they were going to lose. I filed a reply this week, and hopefully, the court will rule on it at some point in time. So we'll see. Sometimes they have hearings. Sometimes they can, make us go through the whole process. We'll see. So hopefully we get that behind us and move forward. So it's, but that is what goes on. And everybody and I will tell you, the first time I ever, when I filed this case against these other parties, I had a state legislator ask me if he wanted me to go talk to the judge, because the judge was from his county. The judge was a family friend. So we all talk about the problems with lawyer legislators. This particular legislator was not a lawyer, but he did say, "Oh, I can give him a call. We can talk to him about your case." I'm like, no, you can't do that. This is literally what we're fighting up against. So, but he went ahead and, or he didn't. But he's probably now calling the judge, telling him to put me in jail. So I don't really get along with that particular legislator anymore. So that was this week. But the Comey thing, I think that's, it's a big deal. I don't personally look at it as, he's just, the wrath of Trump. I think this is what people wanted. I think we need to, and as I've told other people, we need to scare these people back into compliance, that this is not acceptable. I don't believe, I would even sway, you hear in some of these banana republic type countries that people get away with stuff, as opposed to being prosecuted because they're government officials. I'd almost rather that, because it almost looks like it's too political to go back after them. So, but what they did to Trump, everybody puts an estimate on what they think their property is worth. Every person who's ever, mortgaged or got a home equity line or anything. It's done all. That was standard business. And to sit there and say that piece of Mar-a-Lago is worth, what did they say, 5 million, 10 million, 50 million? It's a half a million. It's worth a lot. We've had clients down there, and we've been down there. It's not a cheap place to stay. So, welcome. How are you?
How are you?
Are you here to give us an update?
No, just here to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Okay. You are from?
Congressman Tim's office.
Okay. Fantastic. So we're glad you're here. The Congressman is, I think, excited and doing a lot of things. All I know is anytime I watch something on Rumble and on YouTube and even on Rab, I'm seeing a bunch of his ads.
Yeah.
Is he worried about something?
No, not at all. No, he's doing a great job. So.
Yes, everything seems to be good. So, so it's kind of neat. And one of those things are constituent services. One of the ads, I guess he helped a veteran get some benefits or something.
Yeah. We do a lot with the VA.
Yes.
So, very heartwarming story.
I'll be getting with you.
Yeah.
They denied my claims, so again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just talk to me.
Callie works on a lot of that type of stuff, so she can help you out with that.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that your congressperson can do for you, is constituent services, to get some of that stuff. But there's a lot of paperwork, and there's a lot of people that even within the government, I think, slow things down. We see what happened at the UN this week. Trump spoke at the UN, and the escalator doesn't work. The helicopter doesn't work. The speakers aren't turned up as loud as they normally are. It's not a coincidence, right? It's a conspiracy. But Kelly's great at that. Appreciate you helping out with all that kind of stuff. So, what else? What else we got going on? Oh, what do we got on Saturday?
Constitution class.
All right.
How do we make it? You can find it on the website. I appreciate it.
You go to greenvillegop.com/events. You can find the Constitution Alive class. Tomorrow, Saturday, will be, am I stealing your thunder?
Class 2. No, go ahead.
It's class number 2, so you're not too late to catch up. So you can come tomorrow. It is at American Legion post number 3, which is downtown or North Main and Academy. The corner is that nice little granite building they built up there that has been sold. And the city is going to they're going to build 3 big high rises up there. So if you want to come see it before it's torn down.
You're getting into my thunder.
Oh,
I want people to come out to see this museum they got up there. It's the last chance to see it
Right.
in its original form. They have historic wood even in there, wormy chestnut.
It was built in 1930 or something
Yeah,
like that.
it is a fantastic building to see. They're gonna try to save the mantles and all that fireplace and take it to a new site. But see that it's original. You can do that right after the Constitution class. It's open. And bring your teenage children to really love it.
Right.
And this is the chance to tell your children about the Constitution, original intent.
Right. The original intent of the Constitution, the class is from 10 to 11:30. Y'all finished at 11:30 last week?
It was a little longer, but we're gonna cut it this week.
Okay.
We're gonna make sure we quit on time. It was a great class. I think we sang the national anthem all together.
We had color guard last
Color
week.
guard last week. And if you come early, 9:30, you'll get coffee and donuts and pastries.
And are you making those?
I
Coffee.
work all day.
Those Olga's bringing.
August.
there.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, we probably wouldn't have had the coffee. But we really appreciate the help. And I would recommend all the ECs
Yes,
across the county to come. Get your basic foundation in place.
we have to do that. Yes.
And I'm going to make an appeal to the county council that each one of them take the Constitution class. And I've invited them in the past,
Some have taken it.
some,
but some haven't.
some have taken it, and one completed the whole class. That was Stan, but he's not in the Constitution.
Stan Jubilakis completed the whole class.
Great conservative Christian.
Yes. That's
And
right.
you'll get things that you would never get out of school. In fact, they don't teach it in school. That's the big deal. Your children are not getting the Constitution.
They stopped teaching it probably around my era, the 80s and 70s. So.
And it's state law to teach at least once a year, I think, and they don't. So it's up to us to teach our children. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. I do think we all want to almost make it a requirement for season presidents from their precincts to take it, just to be informed about it, give us something to do, the social, that type of thing. It's 6 weeks, 1 hour a piece. We've even done it that class where we do it on a Saturday from start to finish. So, I don't know if Patriot Academy will allow that.
We're going to
We've
set
done
up
it
some
some
more, but I'd like people to get involved now. This is a historic site.
Right.
It's a great time to share
Right.
with your children in the museum. And you're not too late, because if you register, they'll send you what you missed.
Right.
So you can take it back home and share it with your family.
Right. And then several of us were not there last week because we were in a campaign school down in Columbia, learning how to run campaigns. So we don't know what we're doing, is what we're told. But I think we know what we're doing.
And if you have a difficulty climbing that little hill they have on that corner, that's gonna be leveled. They're putting a high rise there.
Yeah.
But we have a shuttle, and the shuttle can take you up. But Park on Academy Street, we have a sign out front, says Constitution.
Yes.
So we know where to go.
There were some people out there with big signs saying park here. I saw the pictures. I was monitoring. So that's exciting. Looking, and there's 5 weeks left to it. You are done early, 11:15 or something like that. Do the library tour, and then you can make it home to watch football or whatever you want to do after that. So yes, your call. Okay.
Yep.
What else happened this week? We did the campaign school last Saturday. That was a full day. It was down in Columbia. Myself, Terry Wicker, Dylan Peters, our fourth vice chair in charge of outreach, and also Emerson Cook, who's over at Clemson. With Clemson Clemson Republican Club, and with TV USA over there, they all went down. I think it was good for them to kind of see it and experience it. To me, it was like what we're trying to do is build out our process and procedure manuals on running and doing all of these things. So it's a lot of paper, and I hate paper, but what I've done is we're going to do some 3-ring binders and some things like that for the campaigns because there's so much stuff out there. like the data files, the data, questionnaires, a lot of those types of things. We're putting them in there so we can, kind of build it up, hone it down into exactly what we need to win some of these races. And I will tell you, the elections are coming up. We obviously have the 6 municipalities. We're getting very involved in Greer and with Jerry Trousseau down in Simpsonville, and obviously the city of Greenville. For the city of Greenville, there's 2 races that are competitive. The city of Greenville is one of 5, I think, municipalities in the state that are partisan. The rest of them are all nonpartisan. So like Greer and Travelers Rest and all that stuff, Malden and Simpsonville and Fountain Inn, they're all nonpartisan. But the city of Greenville is partisan. So we have Republican nominees that are running against Democrats. Of the 4 Republicans running, only 2 are uncontested. That's Will Brasington. He is for District 4. There's no Democrat running against him, so I think he's got a pretty good shot. The other one is for the water commissioner. That's Deb Sofield. Nobody's running against Deb, so I think she's got a pretty good shot. The other 2 people that are on county council, we have Matt Alexander is running for the District Y. So he's everywhere. That's why you see his signs and you're part of the neighborhood. So he is the entire district. So, he's running against
At large, right?
At large, yes. But he's running against Tina Belge, I guess.
Whatever.
She's, nice little Belge. I'm not sure. Just Bilge. Just she's a Democrat. All I know. She's a nice. We've actually met her. What?
No, I mean, it's Bilge. I didn't know what it was.
Whatever it is, we're probably not supposed to say that. So that's probably what they would tell you. Oh, that's why we in school. Don't tell you. Don't even mention the opponent's name. But we have met her. She's a nice person and whatnot, but she does have some thoughts and beliefs that are very Democrat, very out there from what we would think. Matt Alexander running against her, but the race that we're specifically interested in, we're spending a lot of time in, is in District 2 for Mike Kilgore. He's a brother of Philip Kilgore, and Scott Kilgore, and the Kilgore family name. I think that will probably help him. He says he does say he's not related to the Kilgore house, which is where we had a Christmas party a couple of years ago. I don't know. I guess there's more Kilgores than you would think. So who knows? But he has been out there. I mean, he's a lawyer, CPA. He's retired, of course. He doesn't play up the fact that he is a lawyer. He's a transactional lawyer, not one of these aimless chasers. But he plays up for the fact he was a CPA. He wants to look at the financials. He looks at numbers. I love working with him because he kind of thinks the way I do about all this kind of stuff and pieces things together. And he's very analytical about his campaign. He has been out there door knocking since May.
Wow.
I mean, he's hitting 50 to 100 doors a day. He's in District 2, so it's in the western and southern side. It's been a Democratic district, but it was redistricted after the 2020 census. And I will tell you, Congressman Timmons, when we were sitting with him and brought this up several months ago, we mentioned that anything about who's running for stuff in the city of Greenville, and brought it up. And I think he shouldn't have, but brought it up and talked about District 2. And I said, we're going to get pretty involved in District 2 and asked him if he could help us out with some things, which he did. We've been very thankful for it. He said, I think that's the easier race to win. And looking at the numbers, strangely enough, for a Democratic precinct, thinking person, it may be, or Democratic district, it may be the easier race to win. So I was actually impressed that the congressman, I think he is a little analytical on the numbers too. So he didn't know the names of who was running or anything, but he knew, oh, you put those districts, those precincts in that district. Oh, that district's got more Republicans in it now than this. So it's pretty fun. So what we're doing is he's been door knocking. You can get a candidate that will door knock. The 2 things a candidate's supposed to do: door knock, meet, talk to constituents. That's number 1. And call for money, raise money. So he's donated some money for himself. He's made the phone calls, those types of things. Part of what we're doing is a proof of concept. Can we win a race? Can the grassroots win a race without spending $1 bazillion?
Right.
Matt Alexander, I think he's got $100,000 to spend. That's where we're not going to spend near that type of money, but we're going to do the things from the grassroots of actually trying to win that race. And I think a lot of people have now said that this is a good opportunity to win it. Now, the reason we want to win, we want to win one of two of those races. If we win just one of them, we will have flipped the city of Greenville back from Democrat to Republican. It went Democrat in November of 2019 under our predecessors. You all know who that is. And he actually says they've never lost anything except the city of Greenville, the crown jewel of this county. The city of Greenville went blue. And so we're working to get it back. And I did tease Matt Alexander. He does talk with that side of the party, and they're not in the party, but some of those, they're not part of the party. But he talks to some of those people. And I forewarned him. I said, the people that are giving you advice might actually want you to lose. The last thing they want is for us and the Greenville GOP taking any credit for winning and flipping the city of Greenville back to being Republican. So I'm like, just be careful of the people you listen to, because that, in all honesty, is what some political consultants will do. And I will tell you that even in the campaign school that we took last Saturday, that was one of the comments that the instructor said, is we need more conservative political consultants in the state of South Carolina. He's like, I could only name one or two, maybe three, that he would even recommend in the state of South Carolina. And even the compliance person doing the compliance, state election commission or compliance, for your donations and all that type of stuff. He's like, I wouldn't even hire that person to do my compliance, because guess what? They're doing the compliance for all the rhinos too. And so they have all your information, all your donor. I mean, it all gets disclosed ultimately, but you may know some back end type stuff that, it's all there. And he's like, I just wouldn't use any of those people. So that's why what we're doing, we're trying to learn and teach as many people as we can within the party how to get active and involved in these campaigns. We've even gone the step of setting up a LLC where we can run campaigns through that. Not that I want to be a campaign consultant, but we need to have access to the tools. We need to have a little bit of money to be able to do things, to get the texting tools, the email tools, and know how to actually do mailers and all that type of stuff. I had another consultant call, one of these big consultants called me yesterday, ask us the questions about some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we can do this type of stuff, and we have grassroots to be able to do polling. Think about if we could sit around here and do some polling into some districts. It's one thing to see Pamela Vett's polling and it says she's 1 point behind Nancy Mace when she was 6 points, just 6 points, not 6 points now to 18 in a month. Now she spent a bunch of money. I don't believe that polling. I never believed the polling, even, the national polling and stuff like that. Because remember, we put, look at the betting odds. Yeah. That's where the money, where people are really putting their money. That's where you can trust things. And I don't really know. There are some betting odd stuff that's out there in regards to maybe the governor's race. We'll have to look into publishing a little bit of that. It's very lightly traded, so it's not real accurate at this point. But I'm like, we can do some polling and find out what constituents are looking for and doing. We're actually doing that right now in 4 of our unorganized precincts. We got Tommy, and I don't know where Tommy had some people, and I think Gwen were making some calls into some unorganized precincts as our first test and foray into those precincts to see if we can find Trump people that are in those precincts that would want to be interested in getting involved in the party. So we're doing that. We're making those outbound calls. We're making the outbound text messages, outbound voicemails, all that type of stuff. That's what Austin's sitting here working right now. And hopefully we'll have something. He's building something today based on some tonight, but hopefully we can get that stuff going. But we need tools and access and the knowledge to be able to do all that stuff, as opposed to just go, oh, well, who's the most expensive guy out there? And if you want to run for office, it's going to cost you $100,000 for a House seat. I think we can win some of these seats and we can get some real grassroots people involved in some things. With that said, we are going to have our Zone 7 meeting. Is Bob here? There he is. We got our Zone 7 meeting. Is it on Monday or Tuesday?
It's on Monday.
Okay, on Monday at the Pelham Road Library.
Yes.
Is it Monday the 26th?
What time?
29.
Is it the 29th or is it
29th.
Thursday? I know it's
Monday's
29th.
29th.
Yes.
It is the 29th.
I thought we had our Zone meeting on the 30th, Tuesday. I've got it on my calendar, it's Tuesday the 30th.
Well, that's your calendar.
Yeah.
Your
I'll
calendar.
tell you what, we will verify that at noon. Jeff is going to be, Jeff
Okay.
Brown is going to be here. at
Okay.
noon.
Jeff Brown will be here. Okay. So we're going to confirm it, but we're going to do our Zone 7 meeting. We had a great meeting a month ago. Gary was there. Some other folks, y'all gave an update on the pro-life stuff.
Which I have today too.
You did good.
Ray sent me a whole list. So whenever
I
you're ready.
can't imagine Ray doing a whole list.
No. Ray, no.
Because Ray's not here. Can we talk about it? Ray is fantastic. Yeah, he is very deliberate, and Ray is the guy that says, "I got time, and I want to do this,"
That's right.
and he has time, and he is doing it. So it's like, holy cow! But Gary's keeping him under the wing, so he's doing a good job with it. But they gave it. But I think what we're going to focus that meeting on, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to focus on doing some stuff for these campaigns.
That was your request, and I think we're going to do that.
Okay, perfect. Because it's right. Because realize we've got two special elections. Bobby Cox, House District 21. Those elections will start. I mean, that election is October 21st. 2 weeks of early voting is October 6th.
We haven't really planned for Monday yet. We're going to do that after this meeting, but I anticipate, and I'm going to recommend that at this meeting on Monday night, we continue the thing we did last time, which is at the meeting, give everybody at the meeting a chance to speak up.
Yes,
And
I thought that was
have their
great.
say, because that brings us all together.
Right. And then so we can talk, let people know where you're from, why you're interested in this, and then we can all work collaboratively on stuffing some envelopes or doing some stuff and looking at some maps, all that kind of stuff for election. Teaching people how to go out, talk about door knocking if people want to do door knocking, or I actually like to call it literature drops, lit drops. It's a lot. People are intimidated by knocking on a door. There are actually a lot of people who don't want to come to the door.
Yep.
Somebody knocks on my door, I don't really like getting out of bed.
It's so interesting. I went out to put some signs out the other day, and it's so funny. You see 5 cars in the driveway. You see dogs jumping up on the door, and someone yelling at the dogs to stop.
But they won't use the door.
I just thought, I was excited because we were with Terry, and she was like, "Oh, you will get someone here for sure. There's people here because we didn't get to talk to anyone." Nope, no one come out and see me. I'm like, maybe it's me.
And then there's some perverts that sit there and watch the Ring camera for some girl to come on, and then they say, "Come on in." Don't ever go in the house.
So no, I'm with that. People just don't like to.
So, for example, with Mike Kilgore, this is a door hanger. He has a letter that he has written that we use and we send out and put on Facebook and all stuff, but we had it professionally printed. We staple it to it. Just go hang this on the door. Most people, I think, somebody just at least came to my door and hung something there. I'll go grab it later and I'll read it. I'll say, "Oh, thankfully they at least," but they didn't interrupt me watching TV or.
The one interaction I did get from that outing is some of the literature I attached my business card,
Right.
and someone actually called me.
Right. So she stapled a business card with her picture on it, so that's what they call it.
That's what they call it. I left Jeff's picture up. That would have scared him away.
It's not in the ring to begin with, so no, it's not a picture. They called to complain,
Oh,
but then I convinced them not to complain, and it worked out.
And they're a Mike Kilgore voter. So.
Right. We became friends.
So, I mean, but think about, and it's quick and easy, and we have the targeted doors, and we have the maps and all that kind of stuff. So, in that particular race, 8 years ago, I think Lillian, the Democrat got 1,075 votes. I think the Republican this is before the redistricting, he got 930 votes, so lost by 140 or whatnot, somewhere in there.
Don't say how much we're heading.
So we're looking for 1,075 votes. We're looking for 500 votes. I'm not supposed to say anything. No, they're Democrats. Who cares? We're gonna blow their brains out. You know, and we're gonna blow them out with votes. Jeez, I can't talk to this.
I was about to say, whoa.
I don't know.
What's wrong with you today, Jeff?
But he's been out there door knocking. You know, if you've got a candidate that's door knocked and met and talked to a lot of people, you know, and it's like you go up there, there's these Mike Kilgore signs everywhere. They're not everywhere because we've just put them out into the roadways. They're everywhere because they're in people's yards. Because when he met and talked to them, he asked them if they were willing to, you know, host a sign. When he got the signs, we got the signs, and he took them all out and put them in people's yards. And it's like, you know, we go over to Prisma for our medical appointments, and we're driving down West Ferris, and you see Mike Kilgore signs. I'm like, you know, this is actually working. You know, we've been fortunate to get the data, you know, from some friends of ours. What we have, plus some other things that we were able to get from some friends. I don't know if they want us to tell us where we got it, but we got some data from them, and you know, it's a lot of, you know, I think we've got an opportunity to win this race, and really, you know, what I will say that one of the biggest things is a lot of the people didn't realize they had been redistricted. So these were people that had voted for Will Brasington. They were in District 4 about 4 years ago. And all of a sudden in 21 or 22, whenever they did the redistricting, the city did, they, you know, instead of having the Republican they voted for, now they have a Democrat represented them that's not really representing them. So that's one of the main things that a lot of them have keyed off on. So I think that's going to be a way to get a lot of people out to vote. I think, you know, just so you know, early voting starts 2 weeks early. So even though we've got these elections are on November 4th, early voting will start October 20th. October 20th to the 31st for this, Monday through Friday. You know, but they're close. The city is close to McAllister Square. There's only one early voting location, and it's McAllister Square. That's great for this race. It's not good for something in Fountain Inn or Travelers Rest, because this is the only place. Who's going to drive all the way down to McAllister Square from Travelers Rest to vote? So that'll be tough. But for our race, we can focus on that, getting a lot of people out and coming out to vote early, and doing a lot of get off the vote stuff. So that'll be fun. We also yesterday, yes, sir.
So if someone wanted to help walking for either this race or Simpsonville or somewhere,
Yes.
what do they do?
Contact us,
Unless you know the candidate directly, but
or come to the meeting that we've got, the Zone 7 meeting. And then what we're going to do, that'll be, I think it's Tuesday. We're going to find out.
I'm confirming Monday, September 29th, at Pelham Road Ranch from 5, we have it reserved from 5:30 to 8:30, but that's just how much time, you know, we have the room set up.
Yes, yeah.
But that's when it's Monday.
Are you sure it's Monday?
Jeff says it's Monday. He's got it listed.
Well, they're
He sent me a text.
a lawyer and an engineer. Okay, I'll defer. But I thought we were doing. So it'll be Monday.
they had it scheduled for Monday, stated Tuesday last time because we had Pascal on Monday.
Oh,
So they
that's
had
what
to push it.
Okay, all right, good. So we're going to do that on Monday. We'll probably do some call banging and some door knocking from here. We'll announce that probably on Tuesday or Thursday. Right, Olga?
That's a really good location too. And
It's easy. It's right there on Pelham Road. And if you think about it, it's solid in between going to the city or going to these House District 21 in the state Senate race. So on the other, so that's the city side from Pelham. On the other side, on the western side or eastern side of the county, we've got House District 21. That's an early election. The special election is on October 21st. That is also for State Senate seat 12. So both of those. But the early voting, again, 2 weeks early, that starts on October 6th. So really from October 6th, we're going to have people voting all the way through November 4th, all the way to probably a runoff after that. So between October 6th and probably the middle of November, there's going to be constant voting. So there's a lot of opportunities to get out there, help to get out the vote, texting, things of that nature. We're doing manual text right now, just into some precincts. And all we need volunteers and we need help. So we put out a call to just come in and staple. And Adriana came in and stapled yesterday morning. So we got lots of things we can do, lots of fun stuff. So I think, but the good opportunity, if you can come next Monday to Pelham Road Library, and we'll have some stuff going then. So what's next?
When does the meeting start? It says it's.
They have it. We have the room from 5:30 to 8:30. I think they're starting probably at 6. Jeff Brown will be here at noon, but Jeff and Bob are planning it. So I think it's probably 6 o'clock. So, and we'll do some easy stuff, stuff some envelopes to mail out. And we'll talk about some people, setting up some times for people to go out and door knock and lit drop, just drop this off at houses, hit the right houses, that type of stuff. And then we're going to try to do a lot of follow up to make sure people actually do vote. Hey, you can go vote early. Please go vote early. Democrats have beat us on early voting in the past. We have not liked early voting. We like single day voting, but the game is early voting, and we're going to do it. So that's what we're doing.
Will the Board of Elections tell us who has voted early?
They have in the past. I have heard at that campaign school that they don't do it, but they have in the past. I haven't asked them, but I'm going to assume they will tell us. I'm hoping they will tell us. I will tell you, yesterday they did have their quarterly Board of Elections meeting. I went to that. It was very interesting. We got their update. Obviously, the big issue that this is Conway's update. Conway's been in the election business for 30 some odd years. Here in Greenville, he's probably the most experienced. It's obviously the biggest county that's out there. If anybody has not heard, I guess it was last week, Howie Knapp got fired. He was the executive director. If you read anything, especially the Fit News article that came out last night, he and his number one underling were having an affair and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I guess when they got fired, they were walking out the building. And when they went to clean out the offices, they found stuff in the offices that were probably not appropriate. You don't want your kids finding it in your bedroom, and you probably don't want your boss or SLED, in this case, finding it in your office in a public place. So they did find stuff like that there. It is quite interesting to hear the girls' lawyer. Will Fuchs gets into really graphic detail, probably what you want to know, but it's interesting to hear the girls' lawyer's excuse for why some of those things were in her office. So, but we on our side of the fence have had a big problem with the way Howard Knapp has run the state election commission. There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of thought that there was things being mishandled. I will tell you, I've been in leadership here in Greenville, biggest county. I called Conway to introduce when I first got elected and sit down with him and try to learn the process of how they handle elections here. I did the same thing on the state level. Conway, come down, meet, talk to us, we'll show you, we'll give you the tour, all that kind of that jazz. I call Howard Knapp, who is a fellow Citadel graduate. He's, whatever, younger than I am, but wouldn't ever give me a call back. I mean, not even the professional courtesy. Well, number one, I was chairman of the biggest county in the state, in a Republican state. And number two, we were both Citadel graduates, and he wouldn't give me the courtesy of even a return phone call. So, of course, that raises red flags, and then more red flags when I see some of the FOIA documents coming out of there. And then the big red flag, which I thought was really funny, is that we had sent out apparently he was on our mySCGOP email list. And then he took one of our mySCGOP emails and was forwarding, he allegedly thought, to Hope Walker, who was the then director of the SCGOP, who's not our friend. So he forwards it to Hope. It's Hope at SCGOP. He sent it to Hope at mySCGOP. So it came to us. And we're like, why is the state, the director of the Elections Commission sending our emails about election stuff to Hope Walker? in how to, and I'm trying to think, it was like, it was something about how to organize to get rid of a rhino in a particular county and, organize the precinct and all that kind of stuff. And that's what he was sending to Hope Walker. So the other thing that I saw, which came through some FOIA documents, one of our friends who was chair over in Horry County was literally just talking to his election commissioner in Horry County and just having email conversation. Very professional. This guy's been, the chair over there. He's retired now, business person, but he very professional guy. Very professional emails, just trying to find out and get information. Howard Knapp wrote back to that election commission person, director in Horry County, saying he is being totally rude. You don't have to talk to him. I would cut off all communications with him. And I'm sitting here going, what is this about? This was about him doing and trying to promote what the SCGOP and the Rhino establishment wanted by stopping, even a civil conversation from occurring. And it was extremely obvious that Howie was on the take, if you will, or in the bag, or, supporting whatever the SCGOP wanted. And it's kind of like, why are you threatening these things and saying these types of things? He won't talk to me. He's telling his, I guess not technically his employees, but they report up to him through the county boards. I'm like, why is he doing this? So I mean, it was rather bizarre and strange. So, but Conway went through, I guess, their report yesterday. I think just so you know their numbers, they are predicting in these races 20% in the cities and 12% in the special purpose districts for the election, for turnout. It's not a lot of turnout. We want more turnout. So, but that's kind of what they plan on. They have plenty of people for poll workers and all that kind of stuff. They only need 500 poll workers. They got a list of 1,800 because, they don't expect that much, for this particular election. So if you're looking at being a poll worker, they're not taking any new ones this election. So look at next June to be a poll worker, and sign up for that and get that training so you can do that. So they got all they need, and everything seems to be running well down there. So any questions on that? Yes?
Oh,
Are we ready?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
You want to sit here?
Whatever's good.
Back on that.
Yes.
Did you address the question about the 1,500?
Oh, yes. One of the issues. Oh, yeah. Who's that? And those are some of his friends, I think, in those commercials.
What do you mean?
I think the girl with the child, Olga recognized her from somewhere.
I wasn't present for that filming, so.
I'll text you.
But yes, you're asking about the 50. And apparently, remember when we had the guys from Lancaster came down here? They were upset because they're consolidating precincts over in Lancaster. They're consolidating conservative precincts. So in theory, they would have less conservative MAGA America First ECs. There is a law that the precincts are supposed to be 1,500. That goes back to the 70s. Conway tells me, and apparently that's probably when everything was hand and paper and all that kind of stuff. Now it's more computerized. You can have bigger precincts. Nobody has ever enforced it. It's out there. They just look the other way, but it is out there. So, I mean, we can figure out what to do. I told him I thought this was more of an internal party fight because, our theory is they're trying to consolidate and have less MAGA America First people as ECs, less participating. If you took the number of registered, but we have 151 precincts here in Greenville. If you took the number of registered voters divided by 1,500, we should have 233 precincts as opposed to 151. And that's at the cap of the 1,500. But he did tell me what you can do with the precinct. So think about Walnut Spring. We're close to 6,000 people in that precinct. There should be 4 precincts instead of 1. He said we got 5 or 6 precincts that are above 3,000. He thinks the number ought to be around 3,000. But he says even at 3,000, we got 5 or 6 that are above 3,000. One of them is Walnut Springs. He said in the law currently, you can have Walnut Springs A, Walnut Springs B, Walnut Springs C, Walnut Springs D. You could have 4 precincts all still voting at the same place, but 4 different ECs. So that's what we're going to check into. And how I verify this, when we lived on the Isle of Palms, there was an Isle of Palms A, an Isle of Palms B, and an Isle of Palms C. I thought they were just the different voting, what do you call them, ballots because of line drawing. I thought I was in A or I was in C because we voted for people on this side, but they're separate precincts. I confirmed with some of my friends who live in Sullivan's Isle. They're like, yeah, that's 3 different precincts, and there's all 3 different America First folks. So what we're going to check into is if we can simply, with Conway's help or with whomever's help, I don't know if they have to do it legislatively, but can we split these things up so Conway doesn't need to find more locations? We don't need more locations. He's got an idea on some location stuff and uses some schools. He ran it by us yesterday, and I'm like, we're in full support. We'll back you up on that. But to split some of those precincts and literally go take us up. I mean, y'all tell me, do we want to go to 250 ECs? I think so. I mean, might as well, the more the merrier. One person representing 6,000, or should we have 4 people? Yes, there's risk, and it's harder to manage more people and all that kind of stuff. But how many people are in your county?
750,000 residents.
And how many ECs do you have, or precincts do you
A
have?
lot. But we combine election districts into polling locations.
Okay.
We could have half a dozen precincts
In one polling location. So, okay.
If not more.
Yeah.
The only challenge is, again, back on the board, they have to maintain the various ballots, right? And
Right.
when you check in, you have to make sure you go to the right table.
Yes, yes.
Right, so that you have
And,
the
and,
right ballot.
and Conway said, now that it's all computerized, he said with a press of a button, I can do it. It's not a problem. So you could have 4 precincts in Walnut Springs, and just you come up and check it out, and it'll give you the right ballot style and all that kind of stuff. Not a problem at all. So technology has improved it in that sense. He's actually got the project that he's working on, another second project he's working on that's coming out of Lexington, that he wanted to know how we felt about it, was if you were allowed, if we use schools as voting locations, and the schools would have to get on board with all this, and they do get on board every other year on the main election years, the schools are closed. But if you could go to any school and vote instead of going to your precinct, and I'm like, absolutely. I mean, if it gets more turnout, gets more people voting, I think my guess is there's probably some people that don't like that. And I'm not talking constituents and voters. I'm talking politicians that say, you know what, I like the fact that my people that oppose me aren't able to get back to the polls and vote against me, because I'm good at getting my people to the polls. I don't want them just anybody being able to vote anywhere. And then we go from 12% turnout to 24% turnout, and all of a sudden I lose my race. So that's the type of pushback that I think we'll find when we push this idea of you being able to vote in any location. Because if I go vote, if I work downtown and I'm working 7 to 7, but I can take a lunch break and go to a school right down from my office, I'm never going to be able to get back home. If I live in the northern part or southern part of the county, but I can go vote at a voting location down there. The computers can tell whether you voted. You can't just go vote here and go vote there and go vote something in the third place either. They're going to catch it. Yes, yeah. So the data's all there, right? So, but if you had the ability to vote at wherever, Starbucks. Not there yet, but we're not going to
Going to Starbucks, there'd be a problem.
there might be a problem. So we might oppose that. So, but there's a lot of things doing in regards to that, and the voting. They had a nice meeting yesterday. I will tell you there is a project that I asked somebody if they might want to look at. They did talk about a recent Attorney General's opinion, that the Attorney General's opinion discussed the fact that if you were on the election board for a local county, could you, well, number one, are you a dual office holder if you were appointed to another board, or a hospital board? That's kind of what this was about. It said definitely it's dual office. You can't have dual office. So you can only be in one or the other. But it talks about in there also if you run for office. This is literally saying, and I don't know how the Attorney General's office came out with this opinion in July of this year, that if you're on the Board of Elections, you can run for office. You can be on the board. I could be on the Board of Elections here in Greenville County and run for a Greenville County elected position. Now, I would have to get off of the board if I'm elected. Does that make any sense? I don't think it makes any sense.
Why?
Because I am overseeing, as I'm on the Board of Elections, I'm overseeing the election that I'm participating.
Use yourself to get ahead of the election and then sign out.
Right. Now, there is, you cannot be on the Board of Elections and be involved in the party in an elected precinct position and or appointed position. So I or those of us that are in elected or appointed positions here in the party, you cannot be on the election board. You'd have to resign your position. Joe Dill got on the election board and had to resign his president's position in his precinct. But Joe Dill can run for office
While he's still
sitting on the Board of Elections. While people that work for him are counting the votes. That's the problem. So I've got the contact information for the lawyer that wrote this up, and we're going to find out if that's really what he meant to say. Because I do think that there has been some talk that Joe Dill wants to run. He may run for office again. I don't think he wants to get off the Board of Elections. And I think this board, I mean, it was submitted the question was submitted by somebody down in Walterboro. But I mean, I'm like, why are they addressing the situation that may apply up here in Greenville? You know, and I'm just kind of like,
I mean,
Because it's probably applying down here too.
The Arizona, the last gubernatorial election in Arizona.
what was that?
The one that won governor, he was Secretary of State, whatever, in all
Yeah.
the elections. And she was running for governor, and you know what happened there?
Yeah.
Carrie like that.
Yeah.
Screwed.
That's the problem, yes. And that's, but that's what this guy seems to be saying. Like, I would almost think you can be an EC of your precinct before and be on the election commission versus actually running for office. I don't know. We're going to find out. But it was just interesting that it came up, it was discussed, and it wasn't discussed in detail, maybe because we were there. But I'm like, I'm going to go find out what that AG's opinion is, and we're going to find it because somebody's trying to work something. And it doesn't seem right to me that you can be on the election board overseeing an election that you're participating in. So, Carrie, how have you been?
I'm good.
You're going to give us the pro-life update this week. I will say that Cash's, not to steal your thunder, but Cash's bill is up. It's just Cash's bill, right? It's October 1st next week. I think we are actually going to run that live here. I know you guys will be down there hopefully speaking about it. We're going to put it and live stream it, and then maybe we can add some commentary about what you guys are doing as you're doing it. Just to, because it's you can go find on the legislative thing, but if you want to watch it with us, we'll be doing it here too. So, what's your update?
Okay. So first, this isn't on his list, but he was supposed to fly yesterday up to Illinois for his dad's weekend funeral, but he ended up flying today, and apparently shared the plane with Liz Seaman because she's from Illinois too. So, thought that was interesting.
You're kidding.
Yeah. So, and thanks everybody for their prayers and support very much during this time. So, as you know, he's working really hard. He's going gangbusters, and I can hardly get here on time. So, very thankful for all that he's doing. So, yes, Wednesday was 5 days from now. We have the hearing for S323, which is Senator Richard Cash's bill. I don't think I want to get into too many details about that. If you want to ask me questions about it, just talk to me personally. But all the sort of details within the pro-life movement it's a lot, and we all have our opinions on how to do things. So actually, Dr. Matthew Clark came in for at least 20 minutes online with our pro-life committee meeting on Monday, and he's the head of personhood. And technically, S323 is a personhood bill. It's sort of a combination of incremental and personhood. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but incremental is what South Carolina Citizens for Life does, SCCL, and they're more into like that. They got the 6-week bill, whereas the personhood and the equal protection people, they want to completely ban abortion. Like they don't want to like get there step by step. They want to completely ban abortion. So this is what Senator Cash has done is sort of a combination. So anyway, the Democrats have rented a bus to go there. So if anybody wants to go to Columbia, let me know. I think we're going to try to coordinate some carpools. We haven't really.
Can we get on the bus?
The Democrat bus, you can go to their Facebook page and sign up. It's probably full already, and so they'll be there. But the first time I tried to sign up. The first time I tried to sign up, I don't think it worked because somebody else told me they got a confirmation a few days later. So I went and signed up with the link again. There's 2 links apparently, and he even got us the link. I'm having a hard time keeping up with everything.
This is to speak.
To speak. So if the public is getting to speak from 9:30 to 12, we figure that's like 50 to 75 2-minute talks maybe during that time frame. And then at 1 o'clock, there's going to be expert testimony. So they'll take a break for lunch. And if they're trying to fit more of us in, maybe they won't take as long of a break for lunch. I don't know what they'll do. But we get to talk for 2 minutes. I'm number 25, so I think I will get to talk because I think they're going to alternate like pro-life, pro-abortion, pro-life, pro-abortion people. So there should be, I would think, at least 50 speakers during that 2.5 hours. It's, I think they don't always do these sessions the same way. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do this, but anybody who wants to go, just being there, even if you don't get in, you make a statement wearing your pro-life shirt and looking like a pro-life person. So if you want to go down to Columbia Wednesday, just let me know and we'll try to figure out carpools and all of that. And then let's see. And Dr. Clark joined our call, gave his personhood spiel. And yeah, that's that. I don't want to get into that more. Let's see, Sunday, October 5th is Life Chain. It's one of my favorite pro-life events every year. And you just stand on Woodruff Road with a pro-life sign that they provide. And for an hour, and you pray for the cars. There's like thousands of cars that go by. And you just pray for the cars. I cry. I just cry because I'm looking at all these people going by. It's just the most powerful thing. It really is. So we are standing at TD Bank. That's where we stand. I'll pass these around.
Where are you standing?
TD Bank. Yeah. You can either take one or take a picture of it or whatever. I put the address on there. You don't need to get signs. Don't worry about the sentence on there that says to get a sign, because I'll get those ahead of time and I'll just have them at TD Bank. So we'll have plenty of signs for everybody to hold a sign. And we stand like 5 feet apart, and you just stand and you smile and you wave and you pray. They're not like mean signs or anything like you're going to hell if you run away, nothing like that. They're nice signs that make a pro-life statement, and a lot of people will wave. Some people are mad at you, and then, like you just pray for everybody. Like, it's just, I like it a lot. I like the event. And what if we didn't do events like this? This is part of the process, part of the strategy or whatever, like to help people to think about this issue. And, maybe we if we didn't have this, like, people would go in the other direction. Like, this really helps us all to think about this. Like, what do we really believe and what are we going to do about it?
And the key to what you just said is if we don't do it, what happens? Because I have had this discussion literally in this past week in regards to some stuff that we do. It's like, oh, well, nothing's going to change. I'm like, okay, yes, I don't expect if we go do this, something is going to change. But yes, I do know things will change if I don't do this. I do know it will slip off into oblivion, and people will forget about this particular issue if we don't do it. I'm not expecting something miraculous. I mean, there's always a chance, but you know what? Some things we have to do just because to hold the line.
Exactly, yes. And I meant to say, go ahead if you want to write down. I have a lot of dates. So those are the 2 dates so far. Third date is.
So what date is that night?
That's a week from this Sunday. So
Okay.
Sunday, October 5th at 2:30.
Okay.
And you just come to TD Bank on Woodruff Road, park there. If there's too many of us, there's a whole bunch of parking in that area. So just don't park at the restaurant next door because they have customers coming. But there's Northern Tool is back there, and I mean, there's plenty of parking by Northern Tool, and it's just a short walk to TD Bank. Then the very next day, Monday, October 6th, at 9 a.m. is Kalani's trial. So we would love people to show up for that. We don't want her back on the sidewalk. We either want her banned from the sidewalk or in jail. She has been, as hopefully you all know, the chief pro-abortion protester. She's been horrible. She's been banned for the last, I guess, 5 or 6 months at least, or actually since March, since she drew blood on a pro-lifer's hand. And he happened to be a teenage son of a family from Mississippi that goes around the country and does ministry outside of abortion clinics. So they'll be back here. They have to come from Mississippi. They're also coming for a conference that week. So if you can come at 9 a.m., it's West Greenville Summary Court. You go to the county square, the two new buildings, and you go to the second one furthest from the parking lot. And you go to the basement to the West Greenville Summary Court, and just all of us there. Again, it makes a statement to the judge. There's supposedly a new judge, but I don't know which judge is going to handle this. But we don't want, this would be like roll call, and then Tuesday would be jury selection, but that's never happened before. It's always just, they try to make a deal on Monday. So
What time is it?
9 o'clock.
What court is it?
It's called West Greenville Summary Court, and it's in County Square. Summary Court. It's a magistrate court. It's the lowest court. For whatever reason, it's in the lowest court. Just trying to understand the court system has been an ordeal in itself. So what, it's South Carolina versus her because it was assault and battery. So hopefully she will be back out there on Tuesday, October 7th. If she is, we're in the 40 Days for Life campaign right now, and it's made so many 40 Days for Life people not come out. So many people have stopped coming out to the sidewalk, and she's been the main ringleader reason why. So, and plus it's also the month of Halloween where you have extra spirits, and she just loves all that Halloween stuff. So we do not want her back out there. So we're hoping that the court sees that too. We have not been able to get the letter from the previous cases that were consolidated in February. Supposedly the abortion clinic has written a letter saying whatever the pro-abortion protesters are allowed to do and not allowed to do. We have not been able to get that letter. Steve Shaw has tried to help us. We need to try again to get that letter. But all the people that had their cases consolidated in February with these weird deals that had us completely confused in February, we can't even get the paperwork on them. So that's what we dealt with. We have tried, but it's been hard. It's been hard for us. So that's Monday.
And I'd
October
recommend
6th.
going because it's very interesting. I went to when I guess she was
That was
hearing.
the bond hearing for this
Yeah,
case.
yes.
And you remember Nehemiah Boyd, he was the teenage boy that was there that day, and I think he spoke too, didn't he?
I think so. I can't
And then that Fowler
the
guy,
lawyer.
Brian Fowler, is that his name? Yeah. Anyway, he's her lawyer, and he is listed.
He ran against Paul Wickensheimer last November for House District 22, claiming to be an independent that didn't like the Democrats or the Republicans. And then he shows up, he's representing Kiwani as a sum pro bono legal counsel for her. And I'm like, he told my mother, because he knocked on her door. She's like, oh, he seems reasonable. He doesn't really like any of this infighting political stuff. And he's representing the most far left of the lefties. And I'm like, no, he lied to you. So
I expect that he'll be there.
Yeah.
Maybe Paul Wickensheimer wants to come. I don't know, but let's see. Then
but realize too, it's magistrate's court. That's the lowest level for kind of lower crimes. If the crimes are more serious, it goes to what's called general sessions court. I talked to a police officer, I guess, on Wednesday at Bill Frady's event that he was telling me about. I guess that Anakin's farm, the rescue thing for the dog. I guess they've got 4 charges on some of those people. 2 are magistrate's charges, and 2 are general sessions. Since some are general sessions, all 4 of those charges go into general sessions. So she only has 1 charge. It's a lower charge. If there were other charges that were higher, you really want to get her into general sessions eventually because it's more penalties and all that stuff. So, but you start where you can start. So,
Well, I don't know how it ended up there. I mean, to me, what she's done should have been in a higher court from the beginning. The fact that she has had a lot of cases against her hopefully will help, to where they'll at least ban her and say, look, we just, you know, or maybe the abortion clinic's like, we just don't do this. Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're hoping. Cassidy, you know, and the other pro-abortion protesters are not as bad. So she's just been horrible.
and she was at the Nancy Mace event
Mhm.
out there yelling and screaming from the outside. And I'm like, this girl's crazy. So, but now, and I will tell you, I don't remember if you were here when I brought it up. You know, is it her husband that owns that place? Her husband owns it or works there?
Oh, well, he works there.
He works there? Okay. But I mean, I literally drive past where her husband works. I'm like, why don't we start protesting there?
That's been done.
It has been?
There's videos of it too.
Oh, really?
The police
Okay.
came out. Done by, I think some of the people there were the Boyd, I think the Boyd family was there.
Right.
By that group.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can send you the videos.
I would
On
love to
TikTok.
consider it or think about it or whatever. And there's now a church that's in that building. And I don't know if they,
Before, yeah.
okay,
Well,
well, maybe it's some Victory
yeah,
Church.
churches are, they don't like to get involved.
Well, we know. Yeah.
So then 2 weeks from that trial, Monday, October 20th, is the Mark Lynch meet and greet at the Hughes Downtown Library on pro-life. So that will be, well, Ray talked to him yesterday and we were talking to him about the full scope of pro-life issues, including IVF, IVG, restorative reproductive medicine, euthanasia. There's so many, there's so much to pro-life. I mean, it's a broad issue. The FACE Act, which the Boyd family, Coleman Boyd was one of the people pardoned by Trump for violating the FACE Act. So they want to get rid of the FACE Act, if you all know what that is on a federal level. So we're talking to Mark Lynch about all these issues, and Ray has sent him a bunch of information. So he will be there, and there are flyers on this shelf where you enter the building, so you can get flyers. But this is that. I'll pass this around if you want to take a picture of it. You can get a flyer. So that should be real good.
So on the 20th
Monday, October 20th.
at the Hughes Main Library.
And we need volunteers for setup. It'll be at 6:30, so to help set up, you probably want to get there at 5 or 5:30 to set the chairs up and everything. So I think that's all I have to say about that. Yeah. And then we have, let's see, this is November 14th. I'll give you this one next, and I'll put any extras on the shelf.
It's a nice logo.
Yes, we have a logo. Can you see our logo?
Oh, yay.
So Olga made it really wonderful. But we have baby Ellie. Baby Ellie says, "Save the baby humans." She's a little red elephant, little red baby elephant, and she really does exist. I brought her to meetings. I'll bring her Monday night. I brought her to the last Zone 7 meeting, so I'll bring her Monday. So come to the Zone 7 meeting so you can meet baby Ellie. She's in a little basket with a little scarf. She has a little scarf too, and she does have a little pink heart at the end of her trunk, just like in the picture. So anyway, and here I'll pass this around. This is a golf tournament with Flourish Adoption, so it supports adoption, and we're kind of helping out with that or promoting them, and they're promoting us.
And when is the golf tournament?
That is past what is it? November 14th. Yes, at Paris Mountain Golf Course, and I don't know what time, but you can go to the link to find out. And then backing up a little on November 10th, Monday, so that's on Friday. On Monday of that week in November, we have Lisa Van Riper. So she's with South Carolina Citizens for Life, which I mentioned earlier, and they're kind of the incremental ones versus Dr. Matthew Clark with Personhood is the just outright ban abortion. And you can ask my opinions in private of all of that if you want. It's a big discussion. But she will be speaking at Denny's at our educational outreach for November. So I'm really, looking forward to that. And I'm hoping we can kind of get to the bottom of some of these questions and differences between these two groups, because some of the infighting within pro-life is kind of our problem. It's kind of why we haven't been able to move forward, because we fight with each other. So anyway, and I just get frustrated by all of it. So if you can listen to my talk, number 25, you'll hear my opinion of the whole thing. So let's see. And then we have our next pro-life committee meeting is actually November 3rd because of, I think it's because of Mark Lynch, we've had to move our meeting to Monday, November 3rd. And the legislative delegation meeting is October 27th. So we don't have a meeting in October, we're having it in November, if you want to come to our pro-life committee meeting. We also have 2 Love Life prayer walks on October 11th, and the final one will be on November 8th. They're on Saturday, Love Life prayer walks, and you can go to gcrpsprolife.com to the event page and get all these dates there as well. And then we have, I'll pass this around, we voted on movies in December for our educational outreach. We're just going to do movies, and we're going to do Horton Catches the Egg and Elf. So I have not seen either one of these, but well, I think we're having them at Denny's. I've never seen Elf. I don't love babies very much. I'm happy to, I'm happy to see them because I haven't seen them. They sound really interesting.
You haven't seen Elf?
No, I don't see them.
Really? Wow, I love it.
And then our educational outreach in January will be Ray's talk on socialism. I'm really looking forward to that too, because I think, as we all know here, like, everything's connected. You're either kind of on God's side or on a materialistic kind of godless side, whether you know it or not. And this will help us to articulate that better and to discuss that more, because you think that the pro-life issue is related to socialism. It is everything is connected. There's like really just 2 choices. There's 2 sides. And how can we articulate that better? Like, why do we like Ronald Reagan? Why do we like? And how can we talk about this to people? What little sound bites can we offer to people who may not be on our side?
I'll give the website again. GCRP is prolife.com. And if you go /events, you got all the dates of the events. So there's a lot, going on. That's why you have your own website.
And I have one more thing that is not on there, but hopefully you're able to put it on there. Our last educational outreach was with Adoption Helpers, and they're a local ministry run by a wonderful couple, and they're doing really well. I think they started about 4 years ago. And what they do is they do events and babysitting for foster and adoptive families. So there will be families that may have some biological children and some foster children and some adoptive some children. They may have 3 children, they may have 8 children. They don't have a lot of support. And so what you go through their training. It's a Zoom training. I went through it a week or 2 ago. It's really good training. It teaches you about trust-based relational intervention, just to give you a little preparation for being with these children for 4 hours on a Friday night or a Saturday night or a Saturday afternoon, so that a husband and wife can go and have like a date together and just get a break. And so you'll have like 3 or 4 babysitters to go, depending on the number of children. And you can pick the geographical location. Once you get connected with a family, you can just keep babysitting for them once a month or once a quarter. So it's really up to you how often you do this. They have several events during the year. You can volunteer and help with those events. And so we can get more foster families if we can get more support for foster families, so these parents can get a break. And I think it sounds really fun to me to go play with the kids. And I'm not in a position to be a foster parent, so this is a way I can help without, getting my whole house approved, which I don't think they would approve my house to be a foster parent. So this is a wonderful thing I think that we could do as a party. Maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 people in the Greenville County Republican Party want to sign up. I mean, that's great. And it's kind of like a little official project that we do that say, hey, look, we're doing this,
That's great.
Yeah. So I right now not able to start volunteering as a babysitter, but I'm hoping to at some point soon. So that was, so their next training is Thursday, October 30th. You can go to adoptionhelpers.org and sign up for their training on Thursday, October 30th at 5:30. You can eat your dinner while you sit there on Zoom. And it gets like a 3 or 4 hour training. I think it's 3 hours. It's good training. They're really nice. So I recommend that too.
Is that it?
I think that's it. Let me check my list and make sure.
God.
Ray's written a resolution.
Yes.
You didn't put that on the list because I asked him. You want me
So
to?
this is coming from the legislative committee, right? presenting some solutions to be voted on. And Ray has offered a right to life one. This one's specifically about, pretty much about the Comstock law, where we don't want to have the abortion pill. It's actually, it is illegal to sell abortion pills in South Carolina, and we want to make sure our legislators and lawyers and AG enforce this law, which they're not doing. So we're gonna have a next meeting, a legislative meeting in October, and pretty much be focusing on these resolutions we put together. We put together about 5 or 6 resolutions we want to read on, and then we'll vote on that. So.
Yes, that resolution actually, the fact that out-of-state companies can mail the abortion pill into South Carolina violates Comstock, which is a federal law. And it also violates our state laws, our state abortion law, in multiple provisions in our state abortion law. So our solicitors and our attorney general are not enforcing it. They could enforce it. This is dangerous for women. They're finding 11% of women, almost 11% of women are ending up in the emergency room from taking the abortion pill. So this is not, I mean, this isn't really a hard argument to make. You know, if almost 11% of women are getting hurt by the abortion pill and they're not even seeing a doctor and they don't even know for sure how far along their pregnancy is, it's not safe. So we shouldn't be allowing the mail-order abortion pill. And, you know, I think the legislators just want to write a new law to make it illegal, but it already is illegal. So let's, you know, he who is faithful in little is faithful in much. So let's use the laws that we have, you know, and so tell your legislator, you know, ask your local solicitor or the attorney general to enforce this.
And we asked, I think Ray asked that question of Pasco when he was here, and he said absolutely. And I've asked him that question. You know, if it's in the law, the solicitors, the AG, their job is to enforce the law, not decide whether they want to enforce it or whether it's the right law, that type of stuff. They can make recommendations, I guess, to the legislature and all that kind of stuff. But if it's in the law, he says he will enforce it. So that's now whether he's enforcing it yet at the solicitor level, we don't know yet. But we have to ask those questions. We have to ask those questions, obviously. And I don't know if we have written up something where we're asking the simple question.
Yeah, I mean, Ray has something. I have something.
Okay.
Ours are not exact. I still have one copy left in my bag.
Okay.
If anybody wants it, that explains this more, all the laws that are being broken, because there's more than's in the resolution. You simplified the resolution to make it simple for everybody, but it's more than what's in the resolution. There's a bunch of laws that are being broken when a company mails it here.
Okay.
And they know that themselves. I mean, there's an article in the Wall Street Journal where they're quoted as saying they won't visit their relatives in South Carolina because they're afraid of getting in trouble. And we're not even enforcing the law here.
Don't tell them.
Well, I mean, they know more than we do.
But they're not coming.
Just right now.
Well, yeah, don't tell them that we're going to enforce it. But the other states have shield laws, like New York and Massachusetts and California. They have shield laws, and they think that's going to protect them. So it becomes their shield law versus South Carolina's abortion law. And I would think that might end up at the Supreme Court. But the laws could all change before that time too. And if we pass a new pro-life law that explicitly makes the abortion pill illegal and refers to it, you know, specifically, that could change things too. But this is going on in other states too. I think Texas and Louisiana have already taken some action against these mail-order abortion bills. So we wouldn't be the first ones, which means we have all the more reason to do it.
We're never the first ones. The way I've had it explained to me is we're usually the last one and we screw it up. So it's not like we've learned from everybody else. We're the last ones and then we screw it up.
Well, isn't it, I heard that 60% of the abortions now are actually coming through the pill.
More than that, I think, at this point. Yeah. More than 2/3.
So it's the big red S.
And in South Carolina, I think it's way more than that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is you can, if it's a mail order, if it's the abortion pill, you're supposed to get an ultrasound and you have to see a doctor to get that ultrasound.
We emphasize that.
And that's not what's happening with the mail order pill. They're just getting a mail order pill and they're never seeing a doctor, never getting the ultrasound. So there's the violation of the law.
Yep. They just get it.
Right. So it's in our law, we should enforce it. That's one of those things. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. So let's utilize what's in the law today to
So,
enforce it.
yeah, actually, we kept it simple. Ray did a great job. He quoted the law and has all that in the law. And so we kept it in 11 pages, so
Yeah.
ECs can understand it and go for it.
And then, obviously, we want to show that we're pro-life, but the pro-life issue is huge. Different people have different opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody should be in agreement with this. So our goal is to bring attention to the matter, get everybody in agreement, 100% agreement with that, passing that resolution, and that gives you guys on the committee and our legislative committee folks the authority to go forward and say, hey, this needs to get enforced. It's quite possible, yes. Yes, quite possible. Is that it? You're good?
Yeah, I didn't
Oh, and possibly censure people who are not enforcing it. If Alan Wilson is not enforcing this, maybe
I
we
talked
ought
to him in
to.
person at the convention down in Columbia. I handed him the information. So,
Yeah.
I
Is
mean,
he
I handed
enforcing?
it to Lindsey Graham too. So, or what? I don't know what I handed to Lindsey Graham, but you can talk to people there. So why not?
So Alan Wilson changed his whole position and he's enforcing it now.
I mean,
Being sarcastic, but
he knows. I mean, he knows. It's like, oh, okay.
you have to get them, you have to show it to them, get them in the corner, box in the corner that they're aware of it. And then when they don't do it, then you get to call them out.
Yeah.
So it's like what we're doing with Pamela Vet. We box her in the corner. She's very well aware of, number one, the school choice issue, very well aware of who we are and what we stand for as the Greenville County Republican Party. And she has chose to favor the rhinos on that and chose to favor universal or the government-run school choice. She cannot say she was unaware of what's going on. Same thing, but she has shown up at all of the state conventions and county conventions where they're doing all kinds of bad things. She then pretends to act like she doesn't know anything's going on. So there's no more sticking your head in the sand and ignoring this stuff. Just make a stand, do the right thing. So that's what we're doing.
You're with William Timmons.
Well, there's a wonderful bill on restorative reproductive medicine and giving some funding to that and some education about that. And I have emailed William Timmons, but you never know if those emails get through. So I don't have the number with me, but maybe I can somehow get that to you. And maybe you could put another bug in here about that because there's only a few people signed on to these two bills. And maybe there are other efforts on a federal level to get some exposure and funding for restorative reproductive medicine. But we want everything and anything. We want all of the senators and representatives on all levels to be aware of this because on state and federal level, restorative reproductive medicine is the solution to so many problems, including this pro-life issue. We've got to heal our fertility, and we've got to do so more naturally than we've done. Because artificial birth control and IVF cause all kinds of relational, emotional, medical, moral problems, and restorative reproductive medicine can heal all these things.
I just talked to you.
Karen, I stopped in and out, so I'm not sure y'all are missing this, but it was in the news just yesterday and this morning that the federal CDC, whatever, is looking into the bill.
Yes, because the FDA has very loose regulations on the pill. So Trump has got, the Trump administration or RFK or whatever has got them looking at the pill. It should not have the loose regulations on it that it does. So that's really good news. I believe Trump also destroyed a bunch of artificial birth control that was headed for Africa, which, the traditional people actually don't want birth control and abortion being forced on them, but there is a movement to force that on that continent. So that's good. There's various good news. There's a case out of New Hampshire where the Democrats and whatever wanted to have birthright citizenship for the illegal immigrants. So they called the unborn child like a person, which could work in our favor. So there's all these things going on. It's hard to keep up with all of them and know where they're going to go. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what lawyers or people would make you use that. And it seems like there's been other cases like that where some legislation on another topic has declared the unborn, like when somebody murders a pregnant woman, it's double murder, right? Why is that? Like, If that's double murder, then why is an abortion clinic and the abortion pill also not, committing a murder? Or when we say, an illegal immigrant is having a baby, that baby is a person that deserves citizenship, then why is abortion legal? Like, we're not consistent in our laws. Why is it okay for the woman to have the abortion, but the father has no say? So if he murders the woman and the child, well, he's in lots of trouble. But if the woman does it, she's not, and he has no right over his child. I mean, none of this makes sense. It's not consistent, and we need to be consistent in our laws.
One of the things I really like, I think Georgia, for an unborn child, you get a tax deduction on your tax return as an additional exemption. I mean, it's backdooring it right in there. I mean, you're getting an exemption. It's a child. It just hasn't been born yet. There you go. We should have that here in South Carolina. I love it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and if you come to Lisa Van Riper, you could ask that question. Like, what about that? Because, there's all these things.
That's an easy thing. It's an easy thing to do.
But there's always multiple pro-life legislation every session, and apparently they can only pass 1 or 2 per session, apparently, is what I'm told.
It's only because they don't want to do any work.
Everything is slow. And our thing is, and my direction to Ray, or my advice to him was, let's find other counties that want to work with us. Greenville can't do it alone. We're 12% of the state, but we need other partners across the state to be able to do this, to force this, down their throat, or however you want to look at it. But find those other partners, because, and find out who's willing to come to the table. If people are not willing to come to the table and have the discussion, then maybe they're not truly trying to promote what their cause is. We see it in school choice. That's why we're sensitive to it, because there's people that say they're fighting for school choice when that's who we're fighting. And you see the same thing in the pro-life movement. You see the same thing in the Second Amendment. Anything that is kind of a big hotbed, they don't want to solve it when we ought to be able to solve it. South Carolina ought to solve school choice, pro-life, Second Amendment. There should be no issues to those things. We are a deep red state. Our people are.
I think a lot of these Charlie Kirk videos that everybody's looking at now, I saw one this week on life, and it takes those common sense issues, like
He's
the laws
right.
you're talking about,
Yeah.
and he just presents it to him, says, and he kills him. He just said,
I mean, I could watch them all
it's a
day.
life now, but it's not a life then, and it's a life. His view was from conception.
Correct.
Period.
Yeah.
It's a unit.
He seemed to believe in, from conception, rape, incest, all of it. He understood the incrementalism. He's like, let's take care of 99% of them, because it's 0.5%, less than 0.5% are rape and incest. He's like, let's make sure we get rid of, protect the
And he
99
plays with
and a
the
half.
truth, just lay the truth out.
Yeah.
Show the inconsistency of the law and the thinking behind the law.
Right.
So go back to basics.
Right.
That's a given one.
And he was willing to have the discussion.
He did.
How many people are unwilling to sit down and have the discussion? Those liberals were willing to go have the discussion with Charlie Kirk, but we can't get some people that say they are for pro-life to sit down at the same table and discuss it.
Exactly.
We can't get people who are school choice, say they support school choice, to sit down at the table and say, let's just have a discussion on what's the right thing to do for school choice. They just won't do it. Okay,
Oh, you're not okay,
not on there. You took me in.
because your screen is locked. Oh.
Okay. All right. Next. Yes, y'all.
Well, since you're going to next, while we're on the subject of why can't we discuss the things that need to be discussed? Seems like to me like one of the most important things we need to discuss is closing primaries.
That is, the closed primaries is our number one legislative issue. It's our number one legislative issue, not because that's my number one legislative issue. It's because when we get closed primaries, we can get all of the other things. We think we can get all the other things.
Well, just so I can let him know, since I'm the one who's leading it, they have the bill that we want is right now been sent to not only to committee but to subcommittee. And if you know anything about the way our state house works, if it goes to subcommittee, the intent of putting it there so it won't see the light of day. That's the intent.
It's there to die.
The person who is the chairman of the subcommittee is Jay Jordan. I've reached out to his county's GOP they still have not responded back to me. So now I'm going to have to send them an email to get their attention and get them on notice to say that your representative is blocking this. The other person, the committee that it was passed down from, he's the chairman of that committee, is actually from Buford. So I've got email. I've already had calls into both those county Republican parties. Since they have not responded this week, the next thing I'm going to do is I will be sending them emails with read receipts to make sure that somebody opens them up. I know they read.
So we've got one person that's taking the lead on it. If somebody else wants to step up and help join and help assist him, because it's a task.
It keeps me it keeps me busy.
Yeah, and he's doing a fabulous job on it. And another kind of shameless plug here. I mentioned resolutions coming out of the legislative committee. Closed primary is another resolution. It's the same tack we're using. We're going to present it to the body, to the ECs, approve this resolution, gives us a tool to go out and censure people that do not support that. Like when they give him they tell him to pound sand and ask questions, why aren't you doing something? Say, do you support this or not? It's the same tack we're using on this. We got, like I said, we got 4 or 5 of these going on the resolutions. The shameless plug, we have a legislative committee meeting on the 9th.
That's right.
But he's hijacked it.
We're usurping it. So realize this: we are censuring, and we've sent out the email about censuring Pamela Pavette for her stuff, and recensuring Dan Tripp and Joey Russo and Liz Seaman about the tax increase. We've already censured, Dan Tripp and Joey Russo. They're up for re-election next year, so we want to remind everybody that they were part of it. We're throwing Liz Seaman in there just for good measure, because we didn't take her out last time. So we're going to do that to bring that attention. We'll do those palm cards that we had. I don't know if I've got any here, but remember those palm cards with the 4, Jim Wicks and Harry are drafting up some new ones to show that, hey, these we took out. Remember, we had the signs. They did the signs that pointed, this guy raised your taxes. Next to, we put signs next to their big signs saying these people raised your taxes, blah blah blah. So we're going to do that again with Dan Tripp and Joey Russo. Even though Joey Russo has voted a little bit more with our side, he's already proven himself as being willing to go to that other side. It just happens to be that we now outnumber. But you know what? We need to find somebody who's going to be firmly in that spot. So we're going to do that, re-censure that. We're going to censure Pamela Vet. We've got only one person has expressed, one being a friend of hers, about not doing it. But so we're going to move forward with that. We did add with our board meeting on Monday, it was unanimous to add a 3rd censure, which wasn't part of the survey. But the 3rd censure is against Diane Mitchell. Diane Mitchell was running for House District 21. Diane Mitchell was the 3rd vice chair of the Greenville County Republican Party during the reorg fraud of 2021. She was responsible for it all. Nate was the chairman. Nate's name is all over the report that Stephen Brown did. But everybody else was an agent of the party or paid agent of the party. That's Diane Mitchell. She was over it. I've already sent letters to everybody that endorsed her, except Adam Morgan. I skipped him. I sent it to 12 of the other people that had endorsed them, asking them to saying, hey, you may not be aware. Some of them are, brand new Freedom Caucus people that probably didn't know who Diane Mitchell was, and saying, you may not be aware, but she was over over precinct reorganization during the fraud of 2021. Here's where you can find the report. Here's, obviously you can discuss with her or whatever. You may want to reconsider your endorsement of her. Now, I haven't followed up and called them since then. On Monday, it occurred. I'm like, well, we're censuring these other people. Why don't we censure Diane Mitchell too? So everybody, we agreed with that 11-1. Now, with a censure of an elected official, even though she was only elected in a party position, apparently our rules require us to have 2 meetings. 2 readings. So we read and vote on it the first meeting, we read and vote on it the second meeting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take September 9th, we're going to call a special meeting to do 2 things. Those 3 censures, we'll do the first reading, discuss them, vote on them, then vote on it again at the business meeting on October 13th. October 9th.
September.
Yes, I'm sorry. October 9th and October 13th, a Thursday and a Monday. We'll do that meeting on the 9th, Thursday, October 9th. We will do it here, Zoom meeting. You can come in live. We'll do it on Zoom, however, but we'll do that vote there. We're going to do those 3 censures, and then we're going to do our legislative agenda. So we'll have 6 or 7 of those resolutions. It'll give us the time to read them and get votes on those too. So to knock out and take out some time, so we'll save it for the next Monday. And plus we got to do 2 votes anyhow on those censures. And the reason why we want to have a little bit more time on Monday is because obviously we got some people with some elections coming up, with the special elections and with the November municipal election. So we want to make sure we have plenty of time for that. So that's what we're going to do on the 9th. Expect that special meeting notice call to come out. What we will do before then, though, is hopefully by Monday, we're going to send out all these resolutions, the censures, all the documents to everybody to give everybody essentially 2 weeks to look at everything. And then we're going to have at least 2 Zoom calls, probably one next week and one the week after, to sit there and let anybody ask any questions. My big belief is nothing that comes up at a meeting should be a surprise. We go down to the state executive committee with Drew McKissick, and you don't know the agenda until you get there or anything till the day before. They'll throw motions out there that nobody knows anything about. That's not the way to run a party. We want people to give thought. I've had people come in and sit down and talk about these censures and go through things, and it's good. We want people to learn. So we're going to do that, before the next meeting. So that's kind of the schedule there. Does that make sense to anybody? Anybody got questions to that? Would rather not have more Zoom meetings. You don't have to come, but if you have questions and you want to ask the questions, because nothing should be a surprise. We should go into that meeting on the 13th. The 9th, we can have some flexibility in asking a little question, but we will have 2 meetings before the 9th, so you should ask all your questions then. But I don't think much of it will be controversial. But on the 13th, you ought to just vote. There shouldn't be a lot of discussions. You may see some people bring up questions. And my first question back to them is, did you join the Zoom call? Why were you not on the Zoom call? Because some of those people may just be there to disrupt. And so that's part of what I want to show is somebody there just to disrupt, just to hear themselves speak, just to go ahead and talk. So if you want to understand the resolutions, for the legislative agenda, the Pickens, we're going to do a resolution in support of Pickens. We're going to pick the reorg dates for reorg 2021, and we're going to do the censures. So we got plenty of
2021.
I'm sorry, 2027. Yes. 2021, a wonderful year.
Is that
1 and 7 look a lot.
They do. Especially when they get at my age. My eyes have killed my eyes. So, but we are going to go ahead and pick the dates for reorg of 27. Might as well get it knocked out. We're looking for a big venue. We're looking for the big venue. I've already sent a letter to the new president of Bob Jones. They have probably 3 facilities over there that can fit us. They just don't have any space. So we'll find something, but I really do not want to write a check to the TD Convention Center again. I think we paid them $15,000 to $20,000 for that place. I'm like, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and I'm sure it's only going up. So technically, in the law, they investigate this legally a little bit more. In the law, that says if a facility receives state money, for elections, you're supposed to be able to use it for free for elections. Reorg is an election; it's part of the election law. I'm like, if you're receiving state funds, we ought to be able to get it for free. So we'll see. I don't want to be rude or cost people stuff, and I want to pay the marginal cost, but You're not making money off of the park. We are a nonprofit. We're not here making tons of money. It's not a convention where we make a bunch of money.
If we're getting it for free, we might find that they have scheduling conflicts.
Correct. Would be that issue. So we got to deal with it. Now, Olga gave me a note. Apparently, RJ May, the co-founder of the Freedom Caucus pedophile, has agreed to entered a plea agreement. She tells me basically they're dropping 5 of the charges and leaving him with 5 others. We shall find out. I'll be very interested to see what he actually gets. I think.
So basically, he has 5 counts of distributing child pornography. That's what he pleaded guilty to. Each count carries a statutory penalty of 5 to 25 years to 20 years, fines up to 250, and mandatory lifetime sex offender registration upon release. So that's that. The sentencing date has not been scheduled yet.
So I'll be curious to see what he actually gets. Because remember they cut the deal with Craig Caldwell, who embezzled over $100,000 from the Lexington GOP and the Lexington Rotary Club, and he got the couple hours where he was booked.
So what was dismissed, it was the remaining 5 counts of May's original indictment were charged with 10 counts of this distributing.
So.
Can we?
And just as a reminder, Rusty Lloyd, Nate Lloyd's first cousin, that grew also went to Bob Jones, 4 years younger than him, grew up a mile and a half from where he lived here in Greenville, was also indicted. This is years ago, but he was indicted for possession and distribution of child pornography, and he's on Interpol's most wanted list, so he's in the wind somewhere. So I look at the Freedom Caucus, founding of the Freedom Caucus. You got a member of the Freedom Caucus who's doing all this stuff. You've got the other co-founder, Adam Morgan, who's #1 employee, who he won't get away from and won't say anything about, who everybody has problems. His first cousin, I mean, you got to connect some dots, but there's a lot of, if my first cousin was on Interpol's most wanted list, I think it'd be on electronic billboards on both sides of this building. They would have spent all kinds of money putting billboards all over here.
Mobile billboards.
Mobile billboards, it would be driving around my house. I mean, all this kind of stuff. But I mean, this is what is incredible to me. I mean, literally the other founder of Majesty Music down there. I mean, it was Adam's father or uncle-in-law, I guess. I mean, for what was it? Distribution of it was drug distribution out of Hong Kong. He was sentenced for 30 years or something like that. And you're just sitting there going, I mean, is nobody on the planet connecting the dots? I mean, we've known about RJ May and all the problems with RJ May for a while. We've been fighting it for 10 plus years. And I'm like, that's part of the reason why we didn't like the Freedom Caucus in the first place. If that's the people that you're, setting up your leadership with. So, and look who endorsed Diane Mitchell. John Warren, really? John Warren didn't know anything about the reorg fraud. I mean, he was the guy that we were allegedly believing was the one that was paying for everybody's $20 fee that didn't have to pay. There was 360 people that were told they didn't have to pay $7,200. We still don't know who paid the $7,200. Who do you think was on it? John Warren was definitely on the other side of us back in those days, and he has remained on the other side of us. So maybe if he's not, then why don't he sit down and talk to us? I've called; he's never returned a phone call. So that's my rant. Yes. What's next?
Well, let's remind people, volunteer. And this is an event for Spartanburg GOP. Can you read it?
No.
So the Senate district, since the South Carolina Senate District 12 is mainly in Spartanburg, we are not going to hold a debate or forum. We don't want to split, having people go to different events. But the Spartanburg GOP is holding the candidate forum on October 7th, it's on Tuesday, at the old schoolhouse in Woodruff, 6:30 to 8. And if you want to meet the candidates for Senate 12, make sure, put it on your calendar and go see them.
But I think the Greenville precincts are pretty strong. You know, I mean, to me, it seems like, you know, it's going to be, to me, it's probably going to be another one of those things where we have a runoff, Lee Bright gets into the runoff, and then it's, you know, let these other two fight it out in the primary piece of it, or in the first round. So we'll see. But, you know, I think most of our people are supporting Lee Bright, and they're getting out there door knocking and doing some things for him. So
that's that. And just a reminder for Greenville GOP meeting on October 13th. We're emailing kind of candidates in batches, but if you know any candidates that would like to have a table and just materials, yard signs, whether you're running now in the general elections or next year, they're welcome to. Just let us know so we make sure we have enough tables. We only will have the municipal candidates speak, because
and then that is just really an introduction. I mean, it's not a long thing. It's just, here's Jerry Tussaud. He introduced all my Simpsonville friends, you know.
The meeting is a week before the early voting starts, so that'll be a good opportunity to introduce yourself and encourage people to go vote. But if anyone is running next year for any office, lieutenant governor, whatever, they're welcome to come and have a table. So just spread that word if you ever talk to any candidates.
House.
That's it. And hopefully we will talk about one of the things that we're working on right now, which is let's get your Facebook up there. Is we're working on growing the membership of the party. We would like to have 5,000 paid members by the end of the term. So, I mean, if you look at the paid members we have now, I think maybe it's something we can get up there. But we do have bogeys or goals for each of the precincts based on the number of Trump voters you had in your precinct. And we're putting together, we've got new door hangers, more red than blue this time. More door hangers for the GOP. I think we get 5,000 of them next week. And we'll have also a printed membership application or whatnot. We want to get people, again, lit drops. Just go out there, drop this on a door, have about the Greenville GOP, have about joining the Greenville GOP. How can you develop and grow your precinct? You know, so we'll have competitions or games, you know, for that. But that's going to be a big initiative of ours.
How much is membership?
$25 for an individual, $40 for a couple.
$40 or more.
Or more, yes. We do have the silver, gold and chairman circle. So we kind of mimicked or copied what they did with the MAGA. So we do have those levels too. So you can do $20 a month, you can do $40 a month, or you can do $80 a month. So we do have those. So, and what we're trying to do is also factor in what are the perks that you'll get with that. You know, like the gala, you should get a ticket to the gala, you should get a ticket for, you know, all that kind of stuff.
That's a month?
Some people pay $80 a month, yes.
Not a year.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do.
Oh, I can do it.
Yeah, for the 25 and 40 individual memberships, individual and joint, that's on an annual basis. And we're going to do it based on calendar year. So there'll be a big push at the end of the year, go ahead and rejoin for 2026. And then in 27, go ahead and rejoin for 2027. 2027, one of the perks that we put in, you know, it's our paid your convention fees and all that kind of stuff. What? Yes.
If there was a bumper sticker, kind of like a Tuesday kind of thing for membership in the party, that would be something to think about.
Okay. You turn the camera.
I must have hit it with my foot.
Straight at me.
Oh, well, it's not on the screen, so it's okay.
It's okay. Yes, I think, yeah, we'll find something like that. Let me ask people, what you like, a bumper sticker? You like a shirt?
Sticker?
Shirt?
Because then people see it in your driveway.
Sticker, I think, yeah.
Sticker? Magnetic sticker or an actual regular bumper sticker?
There you go.
Magnet or actual bumper sticker? You can put it
Actually,
Yeah.
that camera set up for
Over
where
a
it's
window
sitting here.
sticker,
The
yeah.
bumper?
Yeah.
I'll take bumper stickers, I'll put them on neighbor's car.
So you only bumper sticker.
I think that's
What's your
great.
fault? What do you like?
I like the window sticker.
Like-
Window sticker?
Not too, something.
You like something small and round, not long?
I like round, yeah, I like round.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, on the side of it.
Like with the whole Trump thing? Yeah. And then maybe the higher levels will do T-shirts. And stuff. So that's, yes. He's a yes. Okay, all right, good. We'll do that. We'll add that in there. So, and that'll be for 26. So, when we do that, say, hey, you join, you'll get a shirt, you get a bumper sticker, a round bumper sticker, all that kind of stuff.
And you can do automatic renewal, so.
Yes,
You don't have to worry about
yes.
that.
And some people
How
do.
much do you do for the t-shirts and all that with like higher level people?
How much?
Yeah, like,
We'll have to figure it out. I'm not. To me, the concept ought to be about 50% of what you pay, you should get back in stuff. So
kind of like taxes.
maybe, maybe we'll see. But like if you're paying $480 a year, you ought to get one ticket, to the gala. If you're doing the chairman's circle, which is $980, 2 tickets, you get 2 shirts, you get 2 bumper, that type of stuff. It's hard to compare to what they do with the SCGOP. I honestly, you get enough of me. I mean, Drew, literally, that's one of the perks. You get a meeting with Drew every once a year. I really don't think I would pay for. No, we get a meeting. Jeff will have a meeting with you, sir.
Is that to attend or not?
Yeah, thanks to the lawyer. But what we could do, what we have debated is, hey, why don't we take that and have a nice dinner? With people that, if you're paying the $980, why don't we have a dinner? Get to talk to some folks. Hear some things. That type of stuff. So maybe we'll figure out some of those types of things with our fundraising committee. So our finance committee is now called the fundraising committee. So Mary knows how to report the financing. We got no problem doing that. We need to learn better how to fundraise. We need to learn better how to fundraise, not just for us, but for our causes, for our candidates, those types of things. What they want to do in the pro-life committee, there are my guess, there are people out there that have grants to do pro-life things. Our pro-life committee is a bunch of people that are active and want to do something. They may need a little money to be able to get it done. Why don't we go out there and find grants or find people that want to financially support them in doing some of that type of stuff? So we don't need all this money. We don't want to get too much, but we do need to fund things a little bit in that way. So, all right, what else do we got? Since we started on time, we can end on time.
Motion to adjourn.
Remind everybody to come on Monday.
Monday,
Zone 7.
Zone 7, 6 o'clock.
Be there.
Be there, and we're
Bring
going
your
to
neighbors.
bring some neighbors, and we're going to talk about some election stuff and get active on action, right? So we're going to stuff some envelopes. We'll talk about some lit drops to sign some things just within your neighborhoods or sign you some precincts. We'll have some of that stuff ready, and we'll hand that out and just talk about it.
Well,
So
everybody's welcome, right? It doesn't matter if you're in zone 7.
yes, you do not have to be in Zone
You don't
7.
have to be in Zone
Right,
7,
right.
but if you are in Zone 7, you better be.
Right, but other people, like if you live in House District 21 or Senate District 12 or Greenville 2 or the city of Greenville or one of these municipalities, come on out and we can get you hooked up with some of that stuff.
In Zone 7 leaders, stick around because we're going to plan for Monday after the meeting.
Oh, I'm not a leader. Y'all are the leaders.
No, we don't want you.
Exactly. Finally. Good.
I guess say it's not my turn.
I pissed them off enough. I'm out of a
But
job.
stick around if you're a Zone 7 leader because we're going to work on it.
All right. Okay. Anything you want to add from the congressman's office?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Do we know who Kelly is? Everyone knows?
Callie?
Okay.
Is that
Oh,
right?
I wasn't in the room. Okay, just making sure we're not missing anything.
Okay. All right. Well, motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
Second.
Can we debate this motion?
First of all, it's a privilege motion. Second of all, it's not necessary for this.
Call the
Okay.
Oh, it's.
I thought the motion.
All right,
1,000 promotion there.
we're adjourned. See you next week.
Do you want me to give you the instructions how to fill out?
Sure.
Okay.
There we go.